welcome to Coding for Kids by Kids. And today we're going to be looking at Python numbers. And to get on to where I am, you basically just search up w3schools.com. It will then bring you to the homepage. Either scroll down and press Python, or just search up Python here. And then it will bring you here, and I'm on Python numbers right now. And there are three numerical types in Python: integer, float, and complex. I find this pretty easy because an integer is just your standard normal number. A float is basically your number, but it has a decimal. So if you want to put 1 as a float, then all you need to do is 1.0. For any decimals, it's a float. And if you have some algebra, then it's complex. And variables of numeric types are created when you assign a value to them. So to make a variable in Python, you don't just need to go like, I set a variable, now I'm going to actually store something inside it. Like, it's not like you build a cupboard, then you're going to put something inside it. No, you build a cupboard and you put something inside it. So you do it all in one instead of doing it step by step. To verify the type of any object in Python, use the type function. So if you have the variable there, it's going to tell you what type it is. So I could change this to an integer if I just took away that. And now it's an integer. And you may be asking, how do I change that to a complex one? Like, I don't really know, but I'm pretty sure it would be plus 0j for that. And that worked. It made it a complex one, because like, to make it complex, all you need is a complex number. So what if I put 0.0? That's one thing. It's still complex. It could just be because it has that complex equation and it just overwrites it all. Or it could also just be that it's put last there. So the integers are basically just any single number. Just these are all integers. But even if I put just like, if I just go like point, y changes to a float. See? Changes to a float. But like, I could change x to just loads of ones across the page. And like, if I put even one decimal place, it would become a float. And this is still an integer, even though it goes on for longer than most of them. Well, most that people would think of. And float, as I've shown you, it stands for float in point number. Like, just add, see, 1.0. Like, I'm also just going to put the print command. So it's also going to print out y. And that's 1.0. That's the same as 1, right? So now this is going to be changed to an integer. It's going to print out 1. It's the same thing, but they're different types. And that actually matters. Because because when you're setting some variables, they need to be floats instead of just integers. And it says floats can also be scientific numbers with an e to indicate the power of 10. So it's going to show that. So let's see what it looks like if I just print one of them normally. So let's go print Z. I didn't change any types, it's just going to print it. And it ends up printing it like that. And it's 101 for some reason, and it isn't 80. It isn't negative 87.78100. That might be because the way it counts, it counts starting from 0. Let's just leave it like that. And complex, J as an imaginary part. It's basically like this. I'm going to even test if you could put an A. You can't. It's only J. It's J that makes it complex. Or else you're actually just making another variable. And because it isn't in the complex or integer, it isn't in any of those, and it isn't in a string, then it won't work. But that might just be because it was put next to the J. So we could try A again, just to double check. And that proves it. It can only be J. So you just need to remember that. Anything else makes that just ends up making it different. Now this one I like because it's really simple, because you have the integer, the float, and the complex one, and then you have some other variables. Wait. It didn't load the whole thing because it says x equals that, and I'm just going to copy it over quickly so that you can actually see what it's like. So let me just get rid of these ones. So with this, I'm just going to paste it. And now that it's like that, I'm just going to change this to A, B, and C. And okay. Is that they just put the numbers. So I'm going to put the variable there. The variables are the same as the numbers, but it's going to go out of its way to just change them to fit the classes. So now this is going to be a float, and it's going to be an integer, then a complex. As you can see, for floats, it doesn't round up or round down, it rounds down and it just takes it away. Takes away the decimal. And so I actually just, this is supposed to be integer to float, float to integer, and this is supposed to be integer to complex. I'm just going to change this one to complex and change the bottom one to integer. Then we'll see what happens, because now they're all going to be different. Well, you can't convert a complex to integer, but you can convert an integer to complex. You just can't convert it back, as it's in the error. And for random numbers, it just generates a random number. This is it already generated 8. So if I run it again, it's now generating 4. So it's going to generate a number between 1 and 10. And this is going to make sure that's 10 every time. but it can't because it has no range. So what if I put 10 to 100? That works. So that's basically all that's in the numbers. There's also this exercise that you can do when you look through all of these. And that's all now.